All right, guys. Daddy needs a little algorithm bump. So today we're gonna go through another round of things about the photography industry that bother me. So call this part 2, call this a follow-up to the last video I did. Where I went through some things that bother me about the photography industry. And maybe we'll see how long this goes. We might go through some of the things I mentioned in the last video and kind of address maybe where my thoughts have changed a little bit on some of them. I did have some good conversations in that video's comment section. But with that, let's get into this one. But first, if you're new here, my name is Adam. This is my YouTube channel, Adam Has a Camera, where I make videos of me walking around taking photos and talking about photography for 20 people to watch. So thanks for being here. All right, so I think this is going to be a shorter one. I don't have as long of a list this time. I've been focusing more on positivity lately in my life, but there have been some things as I comb through YouTube and social media and daily work that I think are worth talking about. So the first one is videos that are camera or tech recommendations or reviews when they haven't had the camera long enough to really review it, or the tech, whatever it is. Now, I'm kind of guilty of this. The first video I ever made that ever really got any views on this channel was a review on my Fuji X100F. The thing I will say about myself is I've always tried to talk about them from my personal experience, not from a techie kind of perspective, because that's not the guy I am. But sometimes it gets a little old seeing a review on a camera when the camera just came out. Like, now I know like these people with followings get the cameras ahead of time, but you can't tell me they're shooting with something long enough to give real world practical advice on it. Sometimes I feel like I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth with a lot of this stuff, because some of the things I said last time got a lot of polarizing comments, but I understand what the people are doing. Those are the videos that move the needle. I get it. But sometimes you just want to see something from someone that's used something for long enough to really know. I know personally, I put that video out about the X100F, and then I put out videos of how I was struggling with it. And as the year has gone on that I've owned it, I've really come around to really, really liking the camera. And I plan to, at a year of owning the camera, to make another video addressing how I feel about it. So I think it's one of those things. I get why everybody's doing it, but sometimes it just feels a little disingenuous. All right, second one. Now, this may be a complaint towards social media and the internet in general. Yes, I am old enough to remember the time before the internet, but I hate how quickly things move from cool and innovative to like uncool and copycat. I don't really know how else to say that, but I was reading something on Reddit recently talking about senior portraits and how like the athletic portraits, I'm sure you've seen the style of photo that I'm thinking. I'm having a really hard time thinking of how to describe it, but like the, overuse of flash and water and, spritzed water and fog machines and basketballs set on fire and just like all this crazy shit that like makes for a cool photo. And the first time you saw it, you were probably like, that photo's sick. Like, whoever thought to do that and light it this way and do these things, it was a creative thought, and they executed it. And then because of Instagram and because of Reels, like 2 weeks later, everyone else was doing that and you're sick of it. And then anyone that does that, it's like played out, or whatever word you guys are using these days to describe that. And to me, I hate that shit moves that fast. Let people build upon things. Like every art movement has always been somebody does something and then someone reacts to it and then someone fine tunes it and then people do those things. And I understand that they go out of style and then there's like a counter movement or a rebellion to that sort of thing. And that's just the cycle things are always going to go in, especially art and especially photography. But rather than jumping down everyone's throat that sees something that's cool and decides they want to do it for themselves, like let's just chill out a little bit and let people do their thing and not be so judgy about, no, I've seen that before and you're just copying what blah, blah, blah did. Like that mentality's weak. I'm going to sound like an old man again, complaining about social media, but feeling forced to shoot vertical or crop your photos to 4x5 or whatever the fuck Instagram is now, just for the sake of posting it to Instagram. I don't like thinking that social media is in the back of anyone's head when they're out making photographs or art in general or doing anything in life, to be completely honest. I hate the people that go on trips just so they can post it on Instagram. I hate the people that have to take pictures of their... I don't hate the people. I hate the act of feeling like you have to take a photo of your meal before you eat it just for Instagram. And I feel that way with photography about cropping and shooting vertical. You shouldn't shoot vertical just because you want to post the photo. I post my photos on Instagram that are vertical with a horizontal border on them most of the time. Just because I want to post them with a horizontal photo and I don't want Instagram to crop it funky. So thinking about your end use is important. If you're going to be shooting something for print or if you're going to be shooting it for a zine or for the internet, I get it. But shoot the right composition for the scene or the emotion or the person or whatever it is that you're trying to capture. Don't rotate your camera just for the sake of rotating your camera because it's going to go on a platform that's dictating that it likes vertical because it wants to keep you on the platform for as long as it possibly can, just for the sake of them making more money. Fuck that. AI made a whole video about this. Check it out if you want to. But AI editing in particular. In the video I made about AI, I talked about the things that I like about it. I like generative fill. I like using specific tools, masking, things that make mundane tasks easier inside of the editing process. I've seen videos about specifically people that shoot real estate and people that shoot weddings where you have massive amounts of photos to go through and they're starting to use AI programs to, it's called Culling. I always thought it was called Culling, but Culling, I guess, where it'll go through and pick the best photos for you. And I get it. Like that part sucks. And maybe I don't have as big of a problem with AI picking which photos you're going to edit as long as you edit them. But then those programs go a step further and you can basically give it a look, a reference, and it will edit all your photos for you. On the real estate side, I don't remember what the software is, but there's a guy I've seen been making a bunch of videos about this software that will take like the shittiest photos and stack them, even if you don't bracket it. Like I saw it, he didn't bracket a photo. It was underexposed inside, overexposed outside through the windows, and AI just figured it out somehow, and it looked like a professional real estate photo. And I don't know how, if you work in those industries, like that kind of stuff's not pissing you off. I'm fortunate that I don't think AI can pick the best construction photos because construction is so niche, but I don't know, something about it just bothers me. And maybe it's coming from a place of low self-esteem of AI taking our jobs. But at some point, we got to decide where we draw the line on, is AI doing all the work for you? And are you even doing the full process of photography? It's a tough line. I see both sides in certain aspects, but for me personally, I don't want AI picking my photos for me. I don't want AI editing my photos for me. I will use it in the process for certain things that I don't want to do, but I believe that going through and picking which photos you like and editing them is part of the creative process and part of what makes your photographs unique. And I think handing that over to AI is doing a disservice to not only you, but the people that are paying you for your services. So I'm sure people aren't going to like that one. Fight me. It's my opinion. Now let's run through some of the things in the last video that maybe I've changed my mind a little bit, because I'm willing to grow. I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. I'm willing to see other people's perspectives, and I'm willing to talk about it. So first one that got a lot of comments was the thing I said about people in your family telling everyone that you're a photographer, and then those people expecting you to take a magnificent photo in a shitty situation. I think the way I explained it, I was trying to be funny, I guess. It always blows my mind how much people on the internet cannot detect humor. But what I was trying to get at is the way it makes you feel, maybe, as the person. Maybe they're not expecting a magnificent photo, but the pressure that's then put on you by people saying, he's a photographer, he'll take your photo. Maybe it's internal. Maybe I'm projecting. But I still believe that them doing that to you sucks. I'll never not think that sucks. But I will say, I understand a lot of the people that commented about that. I understand their perspective that just take the photo and move on. And that is what I do. I would never, in that situation, not take the photo, right? And even if it's not a great photo in the end, they're going to be happy with it. And I understand that. I think it's just a funny thing to be like, damn it, why'd you have to do that to me? So maybe that clears that up a little bit. The next one, similar, when people say, nice camera, I bet that takes great photos. And my view on that was, I'm the one taking the great photos, not the camera. I'm not stupid. I understand what people mean when they say that. I'm making these videos for other people that are photographers, and I think anyone that's been in that situation a little bit deep down, while you know what they're trying to say and you're not offended by it, you're never going to be like, F off, like, it's me that takes the great photos. You would never actually say that to them. But I think most of you could probably agree that deep down, that's kind of a little bit of what you feel, right? A little bit of you is like, that sucks. Even though you know what he meant to say. You knew it was a compliment. You knew he meant that you take the photos and you have a nice camera that's helping you do that. But a little bit of you, a little bit, has to think at some point, like, does he really think it's me? Or do they think it's the camera? I don't know. I wanted to clear the air that I would never be rude to those people. I would never actually say like, oh, it's not the camera, it's me. Again, it was just a funny thing to bring up that happens to most photographers, I would say. And the last one, Leicas. Man, Leica people get upset. And maybe you're justifying the fact that you spent more than I spent on this beetle behind me on your camera, but I get it, right? If I had an extra 10 to 20 grand lying around for a camera and a lens that I could justify spending on a camera, I would buy a Leica. I get it. Unfortunately, I'm not in that situation. I don't ever see myself being in that situation. And I think, once again, the internet's terrible at understanding comedy, because even the way I said it was, I wish I could get one, but I can't. So basically being jealous, right? But man, did everyone that has a Leica that watched that be sure to tell me that they have a Leica, but they don't care that people don't have Leicas. Like, yeah, bro, I get that. But to me, if you take more photos of your camera next to your cup of coffee and your beanies rolled up 3 times, I think it's funny. So that's that. So anyway, we'll wrap this one up. Hopefully, some of my new takes are relatable. If not, I'm sure you'll let me know. Everyone did last time. Hopefully I cleared the air a little bit on some of the things I said last time and, addressed why I said what I said. And yeah. So hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, leave a comment. If you agree with me, if you disagree with me, leave a comment. And I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Stay crusty. Oh, but wait, you thought this one was over because I stood up and that's how people end YouTube videos? Well, guess what? I made stickers. And if you didn't tune out as soon as I stood up, you deserve one of these stickers. So get at me on Instagram, send me a DM. I'll ship one out to you. Put it somewhere, take a picture of it and send it to me. That'd be sick. And yeah, thanks for watching these things. Thanks for being a fan, sticking around to the end. I'll see you next time. Stay crusty.